Matrix Report, presented by the Ganja Kabul. Today is March 22nd, 2015 of the Gregorian calendar. I'm your host, Matrix Wizard, and these are today's stories. China-sponsored Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and the death of the petrodollar, the world's richest man, Vladimir Putin, and his recent unexplained 10-day disappearance, the Greek debt tragedy, Israeli elections, and pedo protectors. But first, today's top story. CERN physicists announced on Friday that they are ready to make contact with parallel universes. According to Mr. Fei Zell, one of the three-strong team of physicists behind the March 23rd experiment, quote, just as many parallel sheets of paper, which are two-dimensional objects, breadth and length, can exist in the third dimension, height. Parallel universes can also exist in higher dimensions. We predict that gravity can leak into extra dimensions, and if it does, then miniature black holes can be produced at LHC. As gravity can flow out of our universe into these extra dimensions, such a model can be tested by the detection of mini black holes at LHC. We have calculated the energy at which we expect to detect these mini black holes in gravity's rainbow, which is a new scientific theory. If we do detect many black holes at this energy, then we will know that both gravity's window and extra dimensions are correct. The amount of energy they're talking about is measured in teravolts. That is 1 trillion electron volts. Previously, the LHC was only running 5.3 teravolts before it was shut down for an upgrade. Now they're going to run it at 9.5 to 11.9 teravolts, and they predict that they can contact between 6 and 10 dimensions. So basically, starting on Monday, which is tomorrow, they're going to create wormholes to other dimensions. Except the problem is they have no idea what dimensions or how many or what is going to come through to this one once they open the door. So get ready for a show and who knows what else. Earlier this week, Bibi Netanyahu won a stunning victory to remain Prime Minister of Israel. And it has to be because everyone loved the mass murdering psychopath so much, not that the elections were rigged or anything. They would never do anything like that. I mean, when ex-Mossad calls you a liar in public, you must really be a scumbag. Let's see how long Bibi lasts. Rumor has it he's so insane, even the other inbred psychopaths want to get rid of him. So if he gets whacked here in the next couple months, you heard it here first. There's a Greek tragedy unfolding in Europe between Greek and EU bankers led by Germany. But they do seem to be working together behind the scenes to avert a Greek default, which would certainly trigger a much bigger event. Namely, the collapse of the European banking system and for other world banking system due to the casino-like $5 trillion bond derivatives market. Yes, international finance is complex. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I encourage you to do some research because this will affect you. So on Friday, Greece was given 2 billion euros in unused development funds, quote, unquote, wherever they came from, which is about the amount of money they needed to avoid default on their so-called debts. I mean, it's all just a house of cards anyway. It's nearing collapse. Let's just hope it doesn't end in war or mass starvation. Now, speaking of war, NATO and Russia have been staging larger and larger military exercises in the last few weeks in what you call a dick measuring contest. This also coincides with Putin's unexplained 10-day absence and revelations that Britain was going to hit Russia with a nuclear strike, which was supposedly averted when Russian intelligence caught wind of the whole plot. There's also rumor that the U.S. was going to get in on the act too, but luckily on March 16th, U.S. Navy Captain Heather E. Cole, who is the commander of the U.S. Navy Strategic Communication Wing, refused those orders, and she was immediately relieved of her command and arrested. Basically, it was just her job to relay the messages and orders to launch the strike. The problem was the codes and messages or whatever she got did not pass protocol that was set up by former Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel before he was forced from office. There's also rumor that Putin's getting ready to nationalize the Rothschild-owned Russian central bank. Now, the Russians and Khazarians hate each other. They've been at war for about 1,000 years. And nationalizing their bank would definitely be a reason that they would want to nuke Russia. Again, all these are rumors, except that Captain Cole was relieved of her duty on March 16th. That was acknowledged by the U.S. Navy. Interesting times we live in. And finally today, the China-sponsored Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank was in the news this week. Primarily because many Western nations are lining up to join. This bank and other Asian institutions will eventually replace the IMF and World Bank. And on Tuesday, Germany, France, and Italy said they plan to join the bank. This following Britain's decision to do so last week and join as a charter founding member. Also, officials in Russia and South Korea have also indicated they would consider joining the bank after they initially declined to do so. The United States was sharply critical of Britain, of course, last week, with an unnamed administration official telling the Financial Times that it had made virtually no consultation with the U.S. and accused London of constant accommodation of China. Well, boo fucking who, let me tell you. It seems that the bankrupt U.S. corporate government and the bankrupt Federal Reserve are being marginalized in the run-up to the death of the petrodollar. Make no mistake, the petrodollar is on life support. Other nations know this, and they don't want to be caught out when the plug is pulled. Once the Russian and Chinese SWIFT payment systems are operational, expect to see a hasty exit from the dollar. Russia says its system will be up and running by May, and China by September. So if you live in America, get your camera, popcorn, and your AK ready, because there might be some chaos. And on one final note, it seems there's been a push recently, in the last year or so, to make pedophilia seem normal or acceptable or whatever. To all the pedo protectors, I say this: go fucking kill yourself, alright? Before you do, make sure you tell us who you're protecting so we can deal with them as well. That's all we have for today. I'd like to thank the UC Network for finding the studio. I'd like to thank the Ganja Cobble, the Wizard's private sector security consultant, and of course, His Supreme Highness Rudy. And so, tune in next time for another edition of Make Reports. Until then, smoke them if you got 'em.